Good morning and welcome. I call this fifth meeting of the House Budget Review Subcommittee on Postsecondary Education to order. At this time, we'll have Ben call the roll.
Representative Baker, Representative Brown, Representative Truitt, Representative Bowling, Representative Bray, Representative Petrie, Representative McCool,
Here.
Representative Tipton, Chair Riley.
Here. At this time, we'll have the University of Louisville, and they are already at the table. So, Dr. Bradley, if you could go ahead and get started and introduce everybody that you need to. Thank you.
Sure. Well, thank you, Chair Riley. It's indeed a pleasure to be here and speak to the University of Louisville. And so I'd like to start off by just acknowledging the committee and the support that they have given in the past for higher education. So again, thank you for this opportunity to be here. Next slide. I just thought it'd be important to kind of, ground the committee in what we've been doing at the University of Louisville. But we recently just concluded our planning for our new 5-year strategic plan. And as a part of that process, the board approved it in January. And it's going to cover the next 5 years. And during that process, we, redefined our mission and vision statements. And I think I just want to highlight sort of the mission statements about the words that really resonate with all of us at the University of Louisville is that we are here to serve and educate the public. And we do that obviously through the work we do. But the main thing I want people to understand is, really when our North Star is about advancing knowledge and improving the quality of life and health across Kentucky communities. And so we believe we're a state institution. We believe we are a part of the state system, and we want to be a part of the success story of the University to the University of Louisville, to the state of Kentucky. Next slide. So when I think of where we are right now and what you see with the university is that the Carnegie classifications are one measure of our work, and so when you look at the fact that we are an R1 research institution, we also have been and received a community engaged reclassification recently. But the one that you may not be aware of is the Opportunity College classification, which we recently got, and I'm particularly proud of that classification because what it is, we're an opportunity college where it provides access and opportunity for our students. And by that, they measure is, are our students engaged with the community during the course of their education? And when they graduate, are they employed in meaningful employment? And so to qualify for that Opportunity College classification, graduates have to earn 1.5 times the normal of their peers that graduated from high school at that time. So, we are only the only institution in Kentucky who have got this Opportunity College. So we have the triple, and as you see, there are only 13 universities in the country who have that classification. We're the only one in the ACC that have it as well. So I think it talks to the value of the students that we have and the mission that we have as a university. Next slide. So when we look at our student body, clearly social mobility is an important part of higher education, and we take great pride that we have a large percentage of first-generation students, 37.4%, who also are 43.5% Pell eligible. So again, pointing to the mission of this university, that we are about changing families and changing trajectory of lives. One of the things we've done with our Cardinal Commitment Grant is to help with unmet financial need. We've put $3.6 million into this budget to help freshmen from Kentucky so that we can keep costs affordable for students to attend higher education. We had a recent study concluded on the impact of athletics in the region. As part of that, they did a 3-year review. And during the course of, and this is just on the athletic portion of the university, it had $1.28 billion impact per year. So overall, the 3-year period they looked at, it was over $3 billion. We're very proud of the fact that we are a STEM-H growing university. We have a 12% increase over the last decade. You'll see again as we align with our requests to the mission of the university, we want our request to align with that growth and to where we see the future of the university going. We're also very proud that we are a military-friendly gold designation. We've had this multiple years now in a row. 10% of our students, so that would be over 2,600 students, identify as being military connected connected students. And we created this the Center for Military Connected Students about 3 years ago. And again, it's been part of our goal is to make our campus welcoming for military connected students. And of course, we are the largest producer of nurses and with bachelor's degree. And also my previous home in the dental school, we are the largest producer of dentists and postgraduate dentists as well in the Commonwealth. So next slide. This has been a record year for us from a standpoint of enrollment. Last year we broke our previous record at 24,123. This year we broke it at 25,005. And, our goal is to try to break 26,000 next year. And as you see, we have students from all 120 counties. And I thought it would be good for you all to spend a couple of minutes just hearing from one of our students, which we're very proud of, is Michaela Aikman, who hails from Letcher County. So I'm going to pass it over to Michaela.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michaela Aikman. I'm a sophomore economics major from the University of Louisville. One thing about me is the smell of the fire in the hearth of a coal stove is one of my favorites. Letcher County, Kentucky, deep in rural Appalachian, southeastern Kentucky, where I come from, wafts the warm smell of fire this time of year. My dad, who is a proud coal truck driver, alongside my mom, who worked tirelessly to raise my siblings and I, always kept a fire going in several ways. They kept us warm, often using propane or our trusty coal stove, but they also ignited the roaring blaze of desire that we hold to learn. Education and learning has always been emphasized to me from a very early age. My parents, as well as my Mamaw Geneva, who was sadly taken from us due to cancer in 2018, would sit with me and show me the joys of being literate and articulate. I have always been told, if you can read, then you can learn how to do anything you set your mind to. Their dedication has dared me to dream bigger than I could ever imagine every single day. I'm a strong believer that people always end up right where they belong in the end. And because of my fervent passion for excelling, I ended up at the University of Louisville. The sea of blue and white back home would probably argue with me until they themselves are blue in the face. But the University of Louisville has worked relentlessly to ensure that students like me, who are from rural backgrounds that echo airs of poverty, are successful. I have been seated at a rich helm of opportunity because I decided to take a chance on a place I was not fully sure would stoke the fire for my learning. People back home are ardent cat fans, and trust me, I heard all about it whenever I went to UofL. But I think that because of everything I've gotten achieved as only a sophomore, it's becoming more and more evident as an option for people in rural areas across Kentucky as well from the country. The university propels me and dares me to dream. What more could you ask for in a place? The University of Louisville invests in every constituent under it. The overall goal is to educate every student to the best of its ability, regardless of where you come from, what you look like, or how you speak. Our mission statement to improve the quality of life and health in the Commonwealth is something that is not just name alone. It is something that I can see clearly and practice every single day. Education, literacy, and improving our situations is not just a priority of the University of Louisville. It is a commitment that I hope to see more of across our state. We as people in Kentucky, especially in Appalachia, where our resources are low and our determination is as elevated as our mountains are resilient and have an ever-fervent drive to learn. Allow us to shine brilliantly, and we shall soar like a phoenix flying straight out of a coal stove.
Thank you so much, Michaela. And, again, this is sort of what gets us up every day, is the quality and the exceptional lives that we have got the pleasure of stewarding during their time at the University of Louisville. So we're very proud of our students, and so I thought it would be good for you to hear from Michaela. And I think, again, reflecting the reach of the University of Louisville across the Commonwealth. Just want to, thank you all for the support. We recently had opened in the fall of 2025 our speed school, and again it was a great event. The fact that this is a state-of-the-art engineering building that again aligns with workforce need and the growth that we see within the speed school. The fact that there's a huge 5,000 square foot makerspace in that space that's available for students from all across campus to come and be a part of design thinking and really coming up with products that we will think and will shape the future of our Commonwealth. Next slide. We are also appreciative of the fact that you all supported the HSC building, which we're going to break ground in the spring. We're excited about this huge, $260 million building. It's the first building on the health science campus in over 40 years that's dedicated to, research. It's dedicated to learning. It's going to be just a game changer in the downtown campus. Next slide. I think one of the ones that you'll see as we talk about the three priorities, and you'll see that they align with our mission and our vision statements, is the Kentucky Manufacturing Extension Partnership Program has been something that we're really proud of because it talks about the fact that we are here to support the Commonwealth of Kentucky. If you look at the grant, it's a federal-backed grant that was started in 2014, but last biannual session, the state put in $10.6 million. For the 2 years. So it's $5.3 million each year. And of that, we've been awarding about $4.3 million in direct flow-through funds to small businesses. And the idea is that it's a matching grant, so they match the amount. And it's helping small businesses use the skills, the expertise of our faculty to improve small businesses. And you can see that there's 57% of the applications in the funding was from rural counties and rural participants, and the other 43% for urban participants. So again, this is one of the priorities we'll be asking for funding as we go into the next session. Next slide. The next two slides I'll be talking about relates to health. As I saw in our mission statement, our goal is to improve outcomes, and outcomes of health are really critical. We're very proud of where the University of Louisville health system has gone from its formation in 2019 to 2026. When you take the fact that, the health system with 14,000 employees is the fifth largest employer in Louisville, you combine that with the University of Louisville, we are the second largest employer in Louisville. And so I think it's really important that we are the driver of a lot of the economic and the health issues related to Jefferson County and beyond, because we are a level 1 trauma center. We in UK are the only level 1 trauma centers in the Commonwealth, and so we handle a lot of clearly the most needed folks who need help and who come every day. Next slide. One of the second priority that we will have on the slide deck for you is, the National Cancer Institute. This is an NCI designation. We have only one in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We are asking for a $15 million request it's a one-time investment. It's not a recurring request because we believe it's absolutely essential to fund researchers and to get researchers to come in who can help with clinical trials. And if you go to the next slide, one of the things I think it's important for folks to know that we are the leading highest cancer death rate in the United States. So when you look at that number in the dark red where it says 169 to 181.6, we are the 181.6. That's our number. Kentucky has set the ceiling of the number of deaths from cancer in the nation, 181.6. So why is NCI, our National Centers of Cancer Institutes, important? Well, because they drive research, because they drive clinical trials and cutting-edge treatments. If you look at North Carolina, which has a similar demography and smoking use as the University of Kentucky, you'll see that their death rate is 151.1 per 100,000. That's 30 less. And again, they have 3 NCI centers designated. So this is why it's so important for us and why I wanted to highlight this request, because it's a one-time ask, but it can be a game changer as it relates to cancer. And we all have been touched by cancer in our own lives, and this is something that really is a priority. Next slide just shows you the third request. So there's just 3 requests here, and this is the STEM-H building. As I mentioned back earlier, we've grown 12% in 10 years in STEM-H students. And, we're planning to put this building, if approved, right next to the Speed School of Engineering, which, again, is just highlighting the growth of an area that is of absolute need to the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We just recently heard from, Senator McConnell and his work and advocacy. We've got a Center for Bioscience. We'll actually go into the Innovation Park, which is behind it. So we're developing a whole corridor on the campus that will be dedicated to really top research that's around applied engineering. It's around medicine and the applications of medicine and the design of treatments. And so, again, we want the state-of-the-art labs to be able to produce the future scientists and scholars. So 142 million for the STEM-H building, and then 5.3 million for the manufacturing extension program, again, which we believe is a pass-through. But we want to be able to provide to small companies and improving cancer in Kentucky. And I'll finish on the mission and vision statements again, because again, I want to make sure you all, that we align our priorities with our mission. And we believe that when you look at the fact that we're to educate and serve the public, we want to advance knowledge, and also we want to improve the quality of life and health across Kentucky communities. And this is all Kentucky. So I really want to thank you for your time. I really appreciate all of your support, and I will be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, President Bradley. Representative Tipton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've got a question, but if you could indulge me, I got here a little late. I'd like to make an introduction. I have an intern with me today. I introduced Miss Clara Heberling back there. She's in her red this morning. President Bradley, she is a sophomore at the University of Louisville, a McConnell Scholar, and she is doing a great job, and we appreciate Clara. Let's show Clara our appreciation. I appreciate it. Thank you for your presentation. We talk quite often.
We do.
Nick probably hears from you more than he'd like to, but we have a good collaboration. I was listening a little bit to the A&R meeting last night, and Chair Petrie, I think if I heard him correctly, reference to approval for agency bond projects. Do you all have some agency bond projects you're going to be able to proceed with through your own funding?
That's something that we're currently looking at for our debt capacity, and if we would be able to take out any
Sure.
bonds on our own. Obviously, the request that we're making for the STEM building is for bond funds that would
Sure.
be state funded for the debt service. But
Okay.
that's something that we're exploring, and there are a couple projects that we do plan on pursuing, smaller scale projects than a $142 million project. But there's some options there that we're
Okay.
looking at on campus.
All right, thank you.
Especially in the housing space,
Sure.
that's something that has revenue tied to it
Sure.
that can generate to pay off those bonds over time.
Very good, very good. One more additional question.
Yes, sir.
President Bradley, I know UofL Health has been very prominent in the Louisville area, metropolitan area. But I also think, aren't you all also working outside in other areas of the state? Could you elaborate a little bit of how UofL Health is working across the state to improve health outcomes?
Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Representative Tipton. From our standpoint of our cancer hospital, our center that was built in South Hospital, and from the fact that we know that people can't travel into the center of Louisville, and we've got to go to them. So part of our commitment has been to kind of go out into the community and develop sites where we can bring our physicians out there so our patients can access them. So thanks again to the support that we had from you all. Cancer, hospital has been center is being built right now. Our hospital in Bullitt County and Shelbyville. We have in Madisonville, we have our program that we have designed around our residency program. We're currently actually working to develop relationships with Murray University about expanding. They want to be able to develop a medical program, because we know that we need to provide physicians who can go into these rural areas. And so having the ability to train more physicians and also put them in rural settings will allow us to provide the care, because we know with the aging of the physician population, a third or 60 and above, they will be retiring in a very short period of time. And so providing health care is one of the priorities. So we see ourselves with a reach beyond clearly Jefferson County into all of the counties I just mentioned. So we want to be a partner. Right now we're working with Paducah Health System in Baptist to develop a residency program that we believe will be, again, an important training route for some of our students that will end up staying in those communities and providing care in those communities. So we feel like our footprint is way beyond our reach right now.
Representative McCool.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here today. Appreciate your testimony. I want to tell you too, I appreciate the military-friendly goal. That is being one of those that's very, very much appreciated, because our military is worthy cause to get behind. I too appreciate the what you work on with the research about cancer. I hope you can not only get the building, but also be able to get the good qualified researchers in here to do that, because that's going to be very expensive but much needed. And certainly as a cancer survivor myself, I'm glad to see that happening and continue to grow. But I want to touch base with Michaela, is that correct? Mm-hmm. I'm also born and raised in Letcher County, so I don't live there now, so glad to hear that you're here. I didn't graduate from University of Louisville, but my wife did, so you're in good hands, so don't worry about it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative McCool. Before we finish, President Bradley, thank you for your presentation. I think a lot of the greatness of universities is sitting right here at this table. We're dealing with an urban university with a president who is originally from Ireland and a young lady who is from rural Letcher County. And I think that exemplifies a lot of what is great about universities, because it brings all these groups of people together. Also, since Representative McCool went there, I'll do a point of privilege. My son graduated from the University of Louisville Dental School, which was mentioned earlier, and he's very proud of that, and we're very proud of what that has provided for him. So thank you so much, President Bradley, and if no one else has anything else, thank you, and we'll be seeing you shortly. Thank you,
All
sir.
right. Thank you so much. Appreciate you all.
Well, at this time, the Kentucky Community and Technical College System, if they could, President Quarles and others make their way to the podium. And then if you could go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Ryan Quarles, President of KCTCS.
Todd Kilburn, Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of KCTCS.
As we pull our slide deck up, just want to say thank you, Mr. Chairman, for rescheduling this testimony from last week. I was a little under the weather. Appreciate your patience. We, too, are finishing up our strategic plan, and KCTCS is college for every Kentuckian. We take a lot of pride in that. We have some interesting and, I think, innovative legislation going through the General Assembly this year that kind of reinforces that it doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter what your circumstances are in life, doesn't matter if you've had a couple bumps on the road along the way. You are welcomed at KCTCS, that we want to find a job, a skill for you to help better our state. I'm joined here today by our KCTCS leadership team, but also President Reese and President Trawick as well, so thank you for being here. We have a lot to be proud of at KCTCS. We're rolling off a truly historic year. You can peruse this slide, but here are some highlights. Our enrollment is up. We're exceeding the enrollment growth of community colleges nationally. Over 110,000 students enrolled right now. Not only are they enrolling, but they're graduating at rates that we have not seen before. Our graduation rate went from 45th in the nation back in 2001, and now we're 4th in the nation. And that just doesn't happen overnight. That really is a kudos to all of our faculty and staff and wraparound services to meet students where they're at in life. And so I just want to say special thanks to our nearly 4,000 employees out among the Commonwealth who are helping our students get across the finish line. Last May, we graduated the most graduates ever in the history of our system. We had 24,000 students walk across stage with either a diploma or credential from our 16 colleges. We're very proud of this, that the arrows are pointing in the right direction. Over half of our students are first generation. 60% of our students work while they're achieving their educational journey as well. Our allied health programs continue to grow, and we're also, as you all know, we're sunsetting programs that may not be as relevant as they were a couple decades ago. 70% of our graduates work in Kentucky. So when you talk about the needs of local workforce development, our students are much more likely to stay or return to the counties they come from. And so when we're looking to fill jobs, KCTCS is a clear winner with supporting local businesses. And due to your all's generous support through Kentucky Lottery funds, as well as maximization of federal financial aid, 74% of our students graduate with 0 student loan debt. Nearly 3 out of 4 students complete their educational journey with us. They may go on and transfer. They may go straight into the job market, but they graduate debt-free. We're really proud of that. Another historic new for Kentucky is that we just completed one of many that I hope to be agreements with our 4-year public universities and privates as well on common course numbering. Just a couple weeks ago, we completed the first agreement with Morehead and ourselves for those core classes that students are more likely to take between our institutions for our 15,000 plus students that transfer to our public 4 years. We've invited all the public 4 years to be part of this journey, and we hope to do this and continue it to help simplify the transfer process as well. And then just 2 more quick points, we'll get into the budget request. We have 110,000 enrolled students. We also have 70,000 Kentuckians that walk through our doors, or we go to their businesses and upskill their employees. We actually generate revenue off of this. And then we also have the Kentucky Fire Commission with us as well to support 98% of all fire-to-fire training is done through KCTCS with the Fire Commission. So if you add that up, we're this close to having 200,000 Kentuckians benefit from our training every single year. And that's something we're really proud of. And we continue to be the #1 workforce training provider in our state. And just recently, the Aspen Institute recognized 8 of our 16 colleges as top community colleges in the country. Now, we've had a lot of successes. We're not going to rest on our laurels. We do have a reform piece of legislation that we're working through right now. We believe it's going to be heard next week, and we're working on that. This is going to be a roadmap for KCTCS. It doubles down on our nimbleness and ability to serve the workforce needs of our state, but also modernize the system. And Representative McCool, you served on the Board of Regents as a faculty member, I think, during the creation of the system. And so this is an evolution of where we are as an organization. Due to your continued investment in us, we appreciate that, but also want to let you know about cost reductions and efficiencies that we've achieved since I've taken office here. We're selling buildings. We've realized the $2.7 million in revenue by selling property that we just don't need anymore. We have over 347 buildings, plus the Fire Commission. And so we're actually implementing, the last point here, for the first time ever in KCTCS history, an evaluation process that reflects the square footage and also the maximizing and optimization of our real estate. And so we're going to continue to do this. We're thankful that you all put language in the budget to allow us to recoup the proceedings of disposition of property as well. We appreciate that. We also have a new contract with a new bookstore. We project to save $4.3 million in the first 5 years through a recently awarded contract as well. We will continue to evaluate our efficiencies at KCTCS. On the operating budget, it reflects what we submitted through the CPE process. We appreciate that. As you can see, in the fiscal year 27 and 28, 172 plus million in each of those. That's our request. That request reflects the growth of our system. It reflects the growth of our enrollment and also the number of Kentuckians served. On our mandated programs, on the next slide, you can see these are programs that you all have asked us to do. We're glad to do it. In a particular note, our trains program is usually exhausted by January of every year. This program allows us to provide grant money for our businesses, both large and small, to benefit from our training. We're running out of money well before the end of the fiscal year. So we would like to ask you to evaluate the usefulness of this, and plus the expectation, I think, that's out there that KCTCS should work on workforce needs all across Kentucky as well. Number 2, the ECTC training facility at Glendale. As you all know, the state built the facility, and we need your support to operate this as the training center evolves with what's next in the Glendale area. And also with our friends at the Fire and Rescue Training, their requests, as well as insurance and the adult agriculture program that I'm personally re-envisioning right now as well. So again, thank you for the inclusion of the Fire Commission language as well. We have Executive Director Bruce Roberts here if you have any questions on that. And a few of you all are very aware of our partnership with Health Force Kentucky. We had a great ribbon cutting on that last Friday. In the future of that. So we're going to ask that you allow that organization to carry forward their balance with their mission. On capital construction, as you can see, our top 3 capital construction projects are in front of you, one at Jefferson, Bluegrass, and Gateway. You asked us to submit our top 3, but we want to make sure that you can see the size of our projects. What we respectfully would ask for you is to look at the total amount appropriated, not the number of projects. Due to our statewide footprint, we believe we can reach more students and communities across the state because we do truly have a statewide footprint with 70 plus campuses. So please, if you look, our projects tend to be a little bit smaller than others. So please look at the total amount appropriated compared to our enrollment and not the number of projects. And just a little bit of context on the 3 capital construction projects we're asking for. One's with JCTC. We added it up. They are the 6th largest college in Kentucky at this point. That's just one of our 16 community colleges. Yesterday, we passed out, was Representative Decker, House Bill 5, what we believe will be a national model for the incarcerated population with prison reentry, new construction at the Danville North Point Corrections Facility, and of course Gateway, Northern Kentucky, to allow them to invest in more classrooms, labs, and simulations as well. As we wrap up here, we're also requesting asset preservation. As you all know, when our system was set up, it was intentional. It was intentional that KCTCS be within a 30-minute drive for 95% of Kentuckians. And as a reflection of that, we have a lot of real estate. We have a lot of campus locations and a lot of buildings that need repair. And so we respectfully ask that you fund our asset preservation request. And our number one investment with asset preservation will be a statewide safety and security infrastructure upgrade as well. And here on our last slide, I just want to say thank you once again for investing in a system that continues to be nationally recognized. We have other programs of intense growth. Our aviation program continues to enroll a lot of students getting commercial pilot's licenses upon completion. This is in addition to what we're doing in aviation maintenance. The Work Ready Scholarship that you all appropriate is working. It's putting Kentuckians to work. We appreciate that allocation, as well as your hopefully support with debt collection, the dual credit program, which we do 71% of all dual credit in Kentucky. We appreciate that. I think it's a good investment for our students. And we're going to continue to work with emerging industries like the nuclear industry across Kentucky and economic development opportunities by leveraging federal funds as well. We're happy to answer any questions you have. We continue to modernize our system, have an eye towards efficiency and being good stewards of the resources in which you entrust us with. And we're proud to be the college for every Kentuckian. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Quarles. And we'll have a few questions. Representative Tipton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. President Quarles, you know I've always got a question.
Yeah.
House Bill 5 was presented in House Judiciary Committee, I believe, this week or a few days ago. Could you elaborate a little bit on that for the committee so the public can understand this and the impact it will have for the future of some of our Kentuckians?
Great. Thank you, Representative. So KCTCS already provides training and classroom instruction in our jails and our 14 state prisons and 1 federal prison as well. We're proud of the work we do. House Bill 5 takes it to the next level. We believe that based off the results of Michigan that has vocational villages, that we can reduce recidivism rates in Kentucky by providing the same level of training and credentials and degree program offerings if we were to locate one centralized campus for all of Kentucky's 13 men's prisons. And so those prisoners that are on the last leg of their sentence, 18 months, 2 years, if they have their GED or high school equivalency completed, they're on good behavior and meet other certain qualifications, they can apply to be a student with us at KCTCS and be transferred to our reentry program, where we'll have about almost a dozen programs offered that align directly with second chance employers. So what would these be? Welding, automotive tech, diesel mechanics, additive manufacturing, or they want to get their associate's degree completed and transfer to a public 4-year. In Michigan, those students that went through their vocational village, the recidivism rate is cut in half. So House Bill 5 does 3 things. It saves Kentucky money. The Commonwealth spends over $40,000 per year per person that's incarcerated behind bars. That's a lot of money. If you can prevent them from recommitting, that's great. And the number one predictor of recommitting is whether or not you have a job. The second thing it does is that it prevents crime. If you get released and have a job, chances are you're less likely to recommit. And the third thing it does is that it fills vital workforce needs of Kentucky. We're proud to work with the Kentucky Chamber, Goodwill Industries of Kentucky, United Way, and others. We've identified 325 employers across Kentucky that say, yes, I want to hire from the second chance population. So we think this will be innovative and perhaps a national model. House Bill 5 is coming your way on the floor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for that. I'm very excited about this, and I regret I wasn't able to travel with you to Michigan when you went up there to tour their facilities. Just scheduling did not allow that. But yesterday, first in your slides, you had your budget request in House Bill 500 as budgeted. Yesterday, the House A&R Committee met after session with House Committee Substitute 1. Have you been able to evaluate House Committee Substitute 1 yet and compared to your budget request?
We're still in the process of evaluating. We do know there are some language changes with the Kentucky Fire Commission, which we welcome. And I think us, like other higher education institutions, welcome the opportunity to plead our value proposition. So we're still evaluating that.
Thank you. Representative McCool.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. President, thank you for being here today. And certainly, I still have a passion for KCTCS. Had the pleasure of working there for many, many years. But I want to commend you on just a couple of things. I appreciate everything you're doing, but certainly the Common Course that you're working with the universities. I'd much rather see you all do it than us do it. So I appreciate that effort, and the students and each college and university is going to benefit from that. I truly believe that. You're being more efficient, right siding, taking away buildings, which is expensive. You have to have insurance and maintain them. If you don't need them, get rid of them. So I'm glad to hear those type of things. Trains program, I know how valuable that is. And if you run out of money in January, we need to really advocate to put a little more money into it to last you throughout the entire year. But I want to end up with saying thank you again for House Bill 5. Actually, I'm a co-sponsor for that well. I taught, in addition to other things, I've tried a little bit of everything in my life, but in addition, while I also worked at college, I taught welding in a prison.
Yeah.
And you can see the difference. You really can. And then when I retired in 2017, I thought, well, I'm going to see if I can still weld. And I went out and applied for a job, and I got the job. They hired me, believe it or not, bless their hearts, but they did. And I worked with people who were, a lot of them were people who had been trained and had been in prison before.
Yeah.
And it's not just giving them skills, it's changing not only their lives, but their family and community. So thank you for that effort, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that time.
Thank you, Representative McCool. And I'll echo what both Representative McCool and Representative Tipton said about House Bill 5. I think we're all excited about what those opportunities may mean and your involvement with the KCTS system and providing opportunities for those men and women to better their lives and better their families' lives. So I think we're very excited about that. And President Quarles, thank you for what you do. I think most of you know, President Quarles knows this as much as anybody. We're still in the early stages of a long process with the budget. Yeah. We just finished one stage of it. We've got many, many more stages to go. So I tell people all the time that nothing's final till April the 1st. So
that's right.
All right.
If
so
you want to brush up on your welding skills, let me know. After 7 college degrees, my dad still thinks the most useful skill hasn't been achieved yet, and that's fixing his broken equipment on our farm.
So glad to help. My mind says I can do it. I don't know if my body says it can.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And next, we will have the Kentucky Higher Education Assistive Authority. Joe Carroll, please make your way to the podium. Anybody else you have? So you have Becky with you also. So if you could introduce yourself for the record and proceed.
Good to go. Good morning. I'm Joe Carroll Ellis, Executive Director of the Kentucky Higher Education Assistance Authority. I'm Becky Gilpatrick, Director of Student Aid for KHEAA. So we're here today to provide information on the appropriations provided in House Bill 500, House Committee Sub 1 for the student financial aid programs. We did get our presentation updated after the passage of the House Committee Sub late yesterday. I will ask for a little grace if we've missed something, because we have tried to go through that as best we can in a short period of time, and so that we can provide you with the updated information. We're very appreciative of the funding provided for the student aid programs, and the House Committee Sub did provide a needed increase from the excess lottery reserve that we were not aware of when we prepared our agency budget last fall. So shout out to the Kentucky Lottery for the billions of dollars that they do provide to the student aid financial programs. So we want to bring to your attention today two of the programs that we think have more problematic funding gaps because of how those programs are structured and awarded: the KEYS Scholarship and the Dual Credit Program. And we'll also provide some information on two smaller programs with some lesser shortfalls that we still want to bring to your attention. Let's start with a quick overview of how the student aid programs are funded. The lottery statute, which is KRS 154A 130, provides that after a $3 million appropriation to literacy and reading initiatives, the remainder of net lottery revenues are to be appropriated 55% to the CAP and KTG programs and 45% to the KEYS Scholarship. Historically, there are 4 additional programs that have been funded with lottery revenues as listed on the slide. And KEHEAA also administers other programs that are funded through general fund and other sources, like the Veterinary Contract Spaces, Early Childhood Development Scholarship, Teacher Recruitment Scholarship, and Student Teacher Stipend Program. For FY 27 and 28, the Consensus Forecasting Group lottery revenue forecast was $365 million each year. House Bill 500 provides $358.4 million of the net $362 million amount to KEHEAA's programs. So our biggest concern with the funding in House Bill 500 is the shortfall in the appropriations for the KEYS Scholarship. So as you know, Kentucky students earn KEYS awards based on their GPAs each year of high school, their ACT scores, and for low-income students, scores on AP, IB exams. The KEYS Consensus Forecast is prepared for each biennial budget to estimate future KEYS expenditures, and historically has been very accurate. In fact, the forecast was within $76,000 of $114 million appropriation for FY25. The forecast for FY27 is $117.5 million and $118.9 million for 28. And that's the total amount that KEHEAA requested between general and restricted fund appropriations. KEYS does receive the $12.3 million each year in restricted funds from the KEYS reserve account, which is the amount available in the unclaimed lottery account. The total appropriated in the budget was, or is, $102.9 each year, leaving the program $14.6 million short for 27 and $16 million short for 28. So what does that mean? If KEYS ultimately receives these amounts, KEHEAA will be forced to reduce KEYS awards for all post-secondary students by 12% for the 26-27 year and 13% for the 27-28 year. And this would be the first time in program history that KEYS award amounts have been reduced for students attending college. We also have some concerns about the funding for the shortfalls in the Dual Credit Scholarship Program. The Dual Credit Scholarship covers both Gen Ed and CTE dual credit courses. In statute, students receive 2 CTE courses per year each year of high school and 2 Gen Ed courses over their junior and senior year. And the scholarship rate ceiling is 1/3 of the KCTCS rate. However, since FY23, the budget has included language increasing the general ed courses to 2 per junior and senior year and increasing the tuition rate ceiling to 50%. House Bill 500 does contain the same exception language. Inadequate funding of the program is particularly problematic because of how the program must be administered. High school students are enrolling in and attending their courses around the same time each academic term. KHEAA is awarding funds as we receive the rosters from the high schools and verify things with the institutions throughout the semester. If KHEAA is forced to cut off funds before the end of an award period, funds will be denied after students have already started coursework, leaving families with unexpected tuition bills. The dual credit program has grown consistently, around $3 million per year since FY23. Our budget request is $32.4 for 27 and $35.5 for 28 to fully fund the program, which does include $6.3 per year in restricted funds from the excess lottery reserve. The amounts appropriated in HB 500 will leave us around $5 million short in the first year and $8.1 million short in the second year. If additional funds are not appropriated, changes need to be made to the program through budget language, which could include lowering the number of courses available and/or adjusting the dual credit rate. Wanted to give a quick update on the optometry scholarship. This is a smaller program, as you can see. And the shortfall in the program are very small amounts. What the optometry scholarship does is it provides 4-year scholarship for students pursuing a Doctor of Optometry degree. For FY27, we have offered 59 students awards, and that's based on our base appropriation and our continuing appropriation. But funding in the budget bill only supports 54 students. So we are respectfully requesting that those small difference amounts in 27 and 28 be restored so that we can fully honor the scholarships of those students who have been offered awards and are already pursuing their programs at the optometry schools. The Early Childhood Development Scholarship, I don't know if you all are real familiar with this program. It's unique in that it requires participants to be working in an early childhood facility while pursuing a degree to become an early childhood educator. They have to work at least 20 hours per week. Traditionally, the program has been funded initially through the Cabinet for Health and Family Services and then transferred to us to administer the program. For this current biennium, it was $2.5 million in general funds per year. We haven't been able to find in our budget or elsewhere in the budget where those funds were appropriated for the upcoming biennium. So if that's the case, that will be a program that we would have to end. That is helping students become early childhood teachers. I did want to give you a quick overview of the CAP grant program, which is our statewide need-based aid program. It is our largest student financial aid program, as you know, and you all provided a significant increase in CAP funding for this current biennium to support the increase in eligible students due to changes in the federal methodology. And the large part of that increase was funded by the buildup in the excess lottery account. As we talked about during our presentation to you in August, our budget request represents our estimate of the amounts to fully fund the program, with the understanding that those amounts would likely not be available this biennium. House Bill 500 contains the base amount plus additional funding, and that also includes $10.3 million each year that was provided in HCS 1. So we are very thankful for those additional funds for the CAP grant. Despite this additional funding, as we expected, we will not be able to award the same number of students in 27 and 28 compared to the current biennium. CAP awards are offered on a first-come, first-served basis by the student's FAFSA application date. Students began completing FAFSAs in late September of last year for this upcoming 26-27 academic year. Based on the FAFSA data we've received so far and the budget funding amounts, we project that for the 26-27 academic year, we will likely exhaust available funds sometime in March or April, meaning eligible students who apply for funding after the exhaustion date will not receive funds for the fall. We think that means funding around 63,000 students compared to the 77,000 that we funded for FY26. However, we are still crunching numbers, and as Becky will tell you, a lot of that you can't be sure about until you actually start running the data. But this is a significant amount of funding. We are thankful for it, and we do not think that not having the same amount of funds available this biennium diminishes in any way the good that was done with the additional funding that was provided for this current biennium. And Becky's going to give you a quick update on the state of FAFSA application.
So because of the new federal methodology, we're finding that there are, a significant increase of eligible students. So we kind of wanted to show you here what this looks like as we're charting out this implementation. That yellow line that's on the screen, that's the 23-24 year. That's the last year under the old federal methodology. So you can kind of track that. The lighter blue is the new year, and federal government, federal student aid kind of had a rocky start on that. They were better with opening the application a little earlier for the 25-26 year that we're currently in, and that's the royal blue line. And as you can see, that royal blue has quickly outpaced everything that came in the prior years. 26-27, that application opened this past October, and so that's for students that are looking to attend starting this fall. And as you can see, that red line there, it is already outpacing where we were for 25-26. So at this point in time, if we're looking at just the number of applicants that are there, we already have 32,000 additional Pell eligible applicants, which could be an additional 32,000 CAP eligible applicants just for this time in the year versus where we were a year ago for the 25-26 year. So it is a significant increase with the way that methodology is working. We have no idea where this is all going to end. The federal government's experiencing the same kind of shortfalls, except in the millions. They're in the B with the billions on there. So we're not sure how Congress will act to that or if they'll make any changes to the Pell Grant program. But we at least wanted to bring this to you to let you know what we're experiencing in the Kentucky data.
And that concludes our presentation. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
Representative Tipton.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. Thank you all for your presentation. I kind of knew the news already. First question, I got a couple. If it's all right, Mr. Chairman. I know starting July 1st, there's going to be a workforce Pell, and I think I know the answer, but just for clarification, the new workforce Pell is not going to have any impact at all in our CAP and KTG rewarding. Is that correct?
It could make a few additional people eligible for the CAP grant program.
It could. Okay, it could.
Small
amount, but it's also my understanding, and I know there's still rule writing, that there is a maximum Pell amount that you can receive, and workforce Pell counts against that maximum Pell grant. Is that correct?
They're still writing that, so
I
really want to go on record.
I knew that.
Trying to guess federal
I
government.
believe rulemaking should be done in March. Is what I've been told. So, anyway, going back to the 24 session, we saw this coming because, and I think what saved us in the 24 budget session was, if you remember, how much of excess lottery revenue that we have in 24 that we were able to backfill these shortfalls. And do you remember how much general fund was put in the second year of budget to make our grants and keys programs whole? Do you recall that off the top of your head?
I don't recall it, but I think we got it if you give me a second.
Okay.
To find, I think we have it here in this presentation from August. Let's see. The additional funding from the excess lottery was 148.9 million for 24-26. We received 243 in 25 and 249 in 26. So I don't think I have in here right in front of me the additional general fund, but I could do some math and
If memory
come up
serves
with
me
that.
correctly, it was around 20 million in the second year.
Okay,
Does
that looks right.
That
from,
sounds.
Yep.
Sometimes my memory fails me, but I'm pretty good with numbers.
Actually, the FY25 amount was 20.3 added. If I'd read my
Okay,
own notes,
sure.
I could have.
Okay,
so
so
told you that.
anyway, the point is we don't have near amount those excess lottery funds
Right.
to deal with at this time.
That's right.
As I recall, I believe it's 22 budget. We were in this situation where students there was no money available prior to that, say around the same March time frame. We really upped the appropriation and capped then, up the amount they could have received. We had the funds then, and now we're faced with some difficult decisions about how we move forward on this. We either adjust the program, we put more general fund money in, or when the money runs out, the money runs out. Is that pretty much our options on that?
I think those are our options looking forward. The one thing I would caution about in current fiscal year is schools have already started packaging. You know, the timing of all of this is always bad. So,
Sure.
so you know, it's hard to make. I would equate it to trying to change the oil in the car as you're driving down the road for this upcoming fiscal year as far as the aid programs go. But you know, looking forward. Yes, those are the options.
I think it's fair to say, and we don't want to downgrade the lottery, because I think it's fair to say lottery revenues have continued to grow. The demand has just outpaced the revenue we're receiving from the lottery.
I think that's correct, and you know, we've been fortunate to fund all 7 of those aid programs through lottery proceeds, even though that was not what was contemplated when the statute was first written.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Tipton. It's obvious, Joe Carroll, you and Becky crunched a lot of numbers last night. I don't know how late you stayed up to do all that, but it was obvious you did. And it's obvious from Joe Carroll's testimony and reiterated by Representative Tipton's question that we've got some issues, and then we've got to figure out ways to do that. It's a great thing that we have more students wanting to go to post-secondary. It's a great thing, but it's obvious it's created some issues, and we have got to figure out how to do that, how to deal with that. So, as I stated earlier, we're still in the process of all this, and hope somebody's a genius and they can figure out how to deal with this in a great way. So, but appreciate your testimony. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to President Bradley and UofL, President Quarles and KCTS, and Joe Carroll, and thank you everybody. If we could have a motion to adjourn. Thank you everybody.